brother?
Mister. What's
How you
shaking?
doing? Oh,
Oh,
not a
you
whole
know.
lot. Not a whole lot right now. Welcome to the Hangout Live tonight. We are back. It is September 21st. Man, that means like this is number 70 for us, brother.
All right.
70 shows tonight. Congratulations. All
Nice,
right, so
nice.
we've got a great show in store for us tonight. Blair, yeah, it's been a long week, brother. So we'll start off with I can't thank all of our viewers and family enough for all the support and well wishes and all the things that they've been sharing over this week. As many of them know, yesterday I went into the hospital. I had a blockage on my LAD artery of 70%. So they went in and put a stent. So I've been trying to kind of take it easy today. So I'm going to be kind of mellow tonight's show. And once again, I love all of you for reaching out and being part of it, especially Kim and Brad and all of you out there. I can't thank you enough. So moving forward, let's hope I'm here for a
There's a
while.
there's a birthday too, right? Yeah, a birthday greeting we
There
got.
is a birthday. There is a
Yeah.
birthday. We've got Jennifer Varner's got a birthday tonight. Happy birthday, Jen.
Hey, hey, Jennifer. Glad you could make it
Right?
too.
Amen. Amen. So we got a great
Yeah.
show tonight, dude. We got Vincent joining us tonight, and a big shout out to Jody
Vinny.
Best with Best Bet Promotions once again coming through clutch for us and making things happen. And I don't think we hesitate any longer. Let's bring Vinny in, shall we, Robby?
Let's bring him in.
All right. What's up, Tina? How you doing? Becky, how you doing? Veronica and Vinny, what's happening, brother?
Wow. So you're telling me that yesterday you had a procedure done that unblocked your heart.
Yes,
That's
sir.
correct. And so
Yes.
how are you feel? I think it's important, and I don't want to take over the show, but I go, it's important to know or talk maybe about how you felt. A lot of people might benefit from the information. How did you feel when you?
So to be honest with you, brother, it's been a battle for 2 years. I've felt headaches, lethargic, extremely tired, angry, all of these mixed emotions, and then chest pains and breathing problems. So for 2 years, I went to doctors and they do the EKGs and they do the stress tests and they
Yep.
do echocardiograms, and they're like, nothing's wrong with your heart, dude.
Yep.
And it got to the point where the doctors, even my own family, were looking at me like it was a hypochondriac. They're like, there's nothing wrong with you.
Yep.
I met with another doctor who was like, dude, you've got a blockage and you have to be forceful and tell your cardiologist you want the catheter. So that's what I did. I demanded it. We finally got it done yesterday, and the LAD is the artery. It's the largest artery in your heart, and it supplies two branches, and it's the artery that's responsible for bringing blood to your heart.
The
And that was
Widowmaker.
called the Widowmaker.
Yeah.
And it was 70% blockage, and they went in and put a stent in. What's crazy, man, is it's a little small cut on your wrist,
Yep.
and they go in and do the stent. They release you 4 hours after it's done.
It's crazy.
They limit everything, obviously.
And you were wide
it is-
awake. Were you wide awake?
Yeah, so they doped me up on fentanyl, but
Oh,
you're awake
wow.
for the whole procedure.
Wow.
Yeah. So you're totally awake. You know what's going on. In fact, you can watch the screen, and I'm laying there, and I see him going in, and they're viewing certain sections of my heart. And he's like, nope, that's clear. This is clear. That's clear. And it's almost like he's being cocky about it because he didn't want to do the procedure.
Right.
And he gets to the LAD, and you can see it. I mean, clear as day on the screen. There's this portion of my artery that's just collapsed. It's not even there.
Oh,
It's
wow.
black. That's gray, and there's like almost zero blood flow going through the artery. And he kind of freaked out a little bit. And he's like, "Okay, I need this stent. I need this. I need that." And the anesthesiologist came back over the top of me. And what scared me was prior to that, the anesthesiologist was like, "Hey, man, we're only going to put you 100% under if we have to open up your chest.
Right on.
So you're not going to see me unless that's the case. I'm going to be over in the corner working." So when he saw the blockage and he said, "Hey, we've got the LAD blocked," the anesthesiologist came over and stood over the top of me and looked down at me. And I was like, son of a bitch.
Yep.
And luckily they did the stent. They didn't have to do the open heart. So for now, let's keep praying. So,
but through your persistence, I mean, having these tests done that you've had in the past and they found nothing.
yeah,
It's kind of like, did you ever have like the echocardiogram?
yeah, 3 times.
And they never found a thing.
I've had 22 EKGs in 2 years, 2 stress tests, and 3 echocardiograms, and they showed nothing. Nada.
That's
Wow.
And what's scary is reading
All that
and research last night. I found that the LAD, the Widowmaker, can go from 20% blockage to 100% blockage instantaneously. It's the only artery in your heart that does that. And it's the only artery in your heart, if you have a heart attack with that blockage, that immediately stops your heart.
Wow.
Right. So
Wow.
I've put on rock shows, I've done concerts, I own a golf course, I'm out there mowing every day. I'm very, very physically active. And to think that at any moment I could have just done. And doctors were just looking at me like, there's nothing wrong with you. You know, why are you here?
And I don't know about you.
So frustrating.
I don't know about you fellas, but I've had several friends over the last 4 or 5 years, you know, fellas my age, that have just dropped over quickly. And that was it. Couldn't say goodbye. It was just a major heart episode like that. Boom, done. So, it, you know, put me on the fast track to go, I better get checked out. But I've had those same tests, you know. So far, so good. But, you know, knock on wood.
I'll tell you right now, brother, is they told me that my tests were stellar. They're like, you've done better on the stress test than people in their 20s. Your EKGs are absolutely perfect for a guy your size. Your heart's in fantastic shape. And all along, I've got a blockage. So I tell everybody, man, if you've got any question at all, just get real and be like, I want a heart cath. If they don't find anything, no harm, no foul.
Right. I hear you,
if
man.
If they do, get ahead of that bus, man.
I know. The way I look at it, man, if all the blow and mini thins back in the 90s didn't destroy my heart, I guess I'm okay.
Brother, I did so many stimulants, you know. My nose was hungry from the time I was 14 until 10 years ago. You know what I mean? And I partied like no other. So yeah, I knew there's got to be damage in there somewhere. You know what I mean?
Right. For sure. Yeah, for sure. You know, fortunately, I sit and go, I couldn't imagine being on that trip today or that particular road today. It doesn't fit with my program. But at some point back in the day, it was perfectly normal.
Absolutely. Now I look forward to my lorazepam and my Xanax and my sleep.
Yeah, man.
Those 4 and 5
days
good.
You can cut the grass and you can go golfing. What the hell?
That's it, brother. That's it.
That's a lot of grass cutting.
There's a lot of grass.
He's got a big John Deere with wings on both sides, 10 hours straight.
Yeah,
that's a good
crazy.
Day. Yeah, that's a good day.
It is a good day. Absolutely. I get to do the radio show in the mornings, and then I go hang out at a golf course all day. So it's not a bad thing. Yeah, all right, so let's move on to you, Vinnie, because dude, Jody was blowing you up, and Jody, I love Jody Bass. She's a perfect friend. She's fantastic, and she's like, Drake, check this out. And I got to looking into you, man. I was like, holy crap, man! Why haven't you suggested this guy earlier? So we've got you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thanks to Jody. Let's take you back all the way back to Detroit, brother. Growing up, you're still outside of Detroit right now, but you grew up out there, right?
I grew up, went to school, went through high school, raised a family inside the city of Detroit for probably 32 years. So I was on the same corner during the '67 riot as when the Tigers won the '68 World Series, as when they won the '84 World Series. You know, I was right there in Detroit the whole time.
Wow, brother. So you've seen the history come through, man.
Yeah.
Downs.
Yeah, it's definitely very eye-opening experience. However, I think a lot of people would admit when you're living in an environment that you're accustomed to living in, you don't know how crazy or abnormal it really is until you get out of it. And then when you're out of it, you go, that was pretty nutty.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So growing up at home, you started off at a very early age playing drums. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep. It was a guitar around the house. We enjoyed, my dad taught guitar, but we enjoyed writing our own songs right from the get. 11, 12 years old, picked up the guitar, picked up the drums, was very much into both. But for some reason, the drums just stuck at that time.
Absolutely. Now, was your family musical, or was it just the era that you were coming in, the culture around you? What got you into music?
My dad did teach guitar. My dad was a giggy musician back when you made like $20 a night, and rent was $120 a month, that kind of thing. So just having that, influencing in guitar around, and just the love of rock instruments like loud amplifiers and just volume. I remember hearing Iggy Pop talking about the sound of like manufacturing plants and stamping plants. And for me, it was like a big civil defense siren on top of a fire station at 1 o'clock the first Saturday of the month. This loud noise came on. It was louder than anything in my world. And so it was the volume, the power of whether it was a rock and roll guitar feedback or drums or the civil defense siren. It was very cool to me. I really just to this day love that kind of feedback and love that kind of volume.
So what did your dad play? What kind of music did he play? What was he?
Well, he was very much into jazz music, and he played the big upright bass, and he also played guitar. And just being around that music as well, like I look back, I go, Cal Jader, the Latin music artist, or he had a big record collection, Miles Davis records and Count Basie records and all that kind of stuff. But it certainly did quickly morph into rock and roll, because that was the language of my peers, rock music.
Yeah. And Detroit, though, I mean, come on, Detroit, Motown. I mean, you must have been a lot of, was there influence at all from any of that too? There must have been some kind of.
Oh, well, I'm certain it's an influence to this day. I certainly feel that some of those bands, the Motown artists, were groomed so well. Just their style and some of the best songwriting on the planet. It was just it was the entire package. And when you think about a rock band, we weren't thinking necessarily that way at the time, but we were very interested in presenting ourselves in a way that, was just impactful and seemed to have all the bases covered. We seemed to want to have the right songs, and we wanted to, represent ourselves in some way that represented where we came from, And I know we came up, what people would say in a post-grunge time, but Sponge never looked like a grunge band, I would say. We were more like, leather jackets and cool leather jackets as opposed to, flannel.
Right. It kind of, to me, had more of a punk influence, more like, I don't know if I want to say Ramones, but I mean, there was a little bit of like a hint of stuff in there that was maybe Iggy in the studio. I don't know. I mean, there's just hints of it. I listened to it and I go, I could see there's a little bit of a punk influence, but it's kind of like a hybrid of sounds.
And I appreciate you saying that, because certainly we love bands like Alice in Chains, but there's already an Alice in Chains, and we could have gone down a very similar path at that time, but we had our up-tempo tunes and our, what you say, punk influence tunes. I was always a big fan of the band Fear, and I love what Lee Ving has done, with music, and I always got a thrill out of it. Do I want to be another Lee Ving or be another Fear? No, I never want to do that, but we just kind of influenced some things that we had done.
Yeah, makes sense.
Absolutely. Makes sense. So let's talk about coming through school. You started a band called the Kryptons with a couple of your friends, right?
Yeah, man. It was it was like a two-piece band. It was drums and guitar, and that was in 1970. Man, like 75 or something like that. 76. Yeah, it was just drums and guitar, and not much for vocal, man. But yeah, we just wanted to write our own riffs, and make a lot of noise.
Were you playing drums in that? Was you a drummer in that? Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I was playing drums. I mean, you know, it's like you look at bands now like Local H, and I love Local H, man, or Jack White, what he had done. I certainly loved a lot of things that some of the Fat Possum bands, the T Model Ford, guys like, you know, just drums and guitar and some vocals. You know, it's really primitive but very cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. So you're about 13 when you did that. How long did that last?
Not too long, a couple summers, man. You know, and then you go, you know, your buddies dug it, but the chicks were yawning at the gigs. You know, you got to go. I got to find another band.
That's
What kind
why
of drum?
we all start out, right?
What kind of drum set did you play on?
Just a pile of crap. You know,
that's a good brand.
Pile of crap. I got an endorsement from Pile of Crap, but
Nice.
you know, just like we find amps in the garbage. You know, like people throw crap like that away. So we did mind picking trash. So we got stuff out of the garbage.
Cool.
Hell yeah. Right on. So where'd you move on to that? After that, where'd you go to? Was there another band?
You know, man, I just started to about the time we got out of high school. You know, the thing was to, you know, join a band that was playing cover tunes, because cover tunes would get you into some of the clubs. So I was playing in a band that unfortunately didn't write many of their own songs, but was doing cover music. So for a hot second, man, you know, I was out there playing like some Scorpions, and I still love the Scorpions to this day, or Judas Priest, you know, just rocking the Judas Priest. That was fun, but, you know, it really wasn't where I wanted to be. I wanted to write music, and so Detroit was also a great place to have, because some of the clubs would allow you just to play your own shit. So it was very, very cool for that.
Cool.
Right on, brother. Let's talk about Spies for Darwin.
Yeah.
Jumping ahead a little bit, we got Spies for Darwin. Now, you started that with Queensryche guitarist Chris. You had Mike Inez in there from Alice in Chains.
Yep.
Sean Kenny was the drummer.
Yep.
What brought that all together,
Man, you know, I'm thinking it was because Sponge, for a hot second, was managed by Susan Silver. And I believe, you know, we met the Alice guys probably when we opened up for Kiss at Tiger Stadium. So Stone Temple Pilots couldn't do the gig because I think Scott had gone into rehab. Alice in Chains was on the show. So our manager, Susan, said, why don't you come out, bring the band, because we had just gotten back into town, and why don't you guys come and play the show? So we did, and, you know, hanging out and talking to the guys in Alice in Chains, starting that kind of relationship, I think led to the eventual Spies for Darwin thing. You know what I mean? Like, they sent me some demos to sing on, and we started recording some music.
Cool.
Oh yeah, brother. So we're gonna kind of move around a little bit here. So we got Sponge, we got Spies for Darwin, we got the Orbitsons, we got Loud House back in 1990. But let's talk about jumping around a little bit. You kind of just stayed in your groove, but some of them you were a frontman, some of them you were a drummer, some of them you're a singer-songwriter. You kind of got very diverse in your role in these bands. What changed from band to band with that? What made the changes? Well,
like, for example, moving out from the drum kit after Loud House. So Loud House was signed to Virgin Records. We did one album on Virgin. And at that point, Kenny, the singer, decided he wanted to go do something else. In the meantime, though, we thought, well, maybe we'll find another singer. We continued to write and demo music, but I started singing on those demos. So writing and singing on those demos. I was writing with the group on that first record, but like I said, I continued to write, but the difference was sing on those demos. And at that point, some of the stuff was turning out pretty good. So boom, we decided to continue on that path and just find a drummer instead of a singer. And we started working on the first Sponge record.
Oh, so it morphed into it. It just kind of morphed into it. Ah. Interesting.
Yep, exactly.
And then you go on to have a platinum record in '94 with Sponge.
Yeah.
Tell me the feeling behind that, brother.
You know, it's funny because I get so, I guess, immersed in the work. And I go, it's really gratifying to have a gold record or platinum record. But to me, it's just always about the song. You know, it's like writing more songs, doing more gigs. And, you know, the best gig is the next one. That's how I look at it. So it certainly is gratifying. But when I go, you know, fast forward till right now, because of what we did back then, you know, I'm able to do what I do and what we do now. So, you know, that to me, that's the biggest thrill. I can go and look at the next gig and go, yeah, it's going to be a great one. Or the gig that we did maybe a couple days ago, that was a great one. So that to me is certainly extremely gratifying.
So do you think that you appreciate it more now than you did then?
Yeah, because I had my head up my ass back then. You know what I mean? It's just back. Right. You know, you're thinking about your head's in different places. You know, you're still really into the music, but you know, you're kind of like you've never been in this space that you're in. You know, so you're checking out this space and going, you know, what needs to happen here, or do I need to think about different things? And fast forward, you just go, you know what? Focus on the music. Focus on what you want to do. And to me, that's the bottom line. So a lot of other things seem to have gotten in the way back then. You know what I mean? Like you think you got to be this, you know, rock god or something. And that's a very weird place to be because you think you got to maybe do or be something that you're really not. And that kind of stinks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've got a great question here. John McCartney wants to know, how do you choose what song makes the cut? And do you confer with the other band members on a song?
I will say this. One of the cool things about writing with the old band was, you know, like everybody in a room having these ideas. And you know right away when you're working with a group of people what ideas are really good. And you just bring your best stuff to the table. And the best stuff seems to stick, man. And that was always a real cool way to operate, you know, that it's not a consensus thing either necessarily, but it's just the enthusiasm in the room. You know when you got something good, no matter where it comes from. And if you can just get out of the way and let it happen, that's kind of the best environment. So, you know, and these days, it's like I may have a song that I complete from start to finish, you know what I mean? But I still kind of bounce ideas off of people just to see what they're hearing. And, you know, that could dictate what's on a record.
Cool. Good answer, brother. So really it's the atmosphere and letting it build and letting it birth and be what it's going to be.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, there was some really good creative times and environment back then. You know, it's so hard, man, though, to keep, you know, everybody kind of in the same mix. You know, bands change, and to, you know, get everybody's schedule together to get together and write in a room, man. It's really, you know, when all you got is your time back then. You know what I mean? It's so easy to get everybody on the same page.
Wow.
Yeah.
Any songs never make it to an album that you thought should?
Thousands. I mean, thousands. I mean, people hear what's on a record, but they don't know. They've never heard the 30 other songs that you were working on to get to that record, you know. And some of the stuff you never want to release. You know what I mean? You thought it was a good idea at a time, and you know, it never really, at the end of the day, was as good as it could have been. So it gets either recorded, the lyrics, you know, just get stored away someplace, or it's on some tape deck someplace. So yeah, the hundreds of tunes that just nobody ever knows about.
Yeah.
And those are
pretty
always
common.
going to be the best, right?
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about this. So platinum record, the high coming off of that, how did that increase from there? I mean, do you feel like you kind of just are chasing that, or do you find it just feel like, man, I've achieved that, I'm moving forward?
Yeah, we've achieved that and moved forward, you know. And it's like, the second record, the sophomore curse, all that kind of stuff. Oh, now they got piano and horns on the record. You know, they're really going for it. And we always wanted to do something a little bit different. You know, we didn't want to get pigeonholed into one sound necessarily, because when we look back at a lot of bands that we loved, you know, sometimes those bands would have a variation, a change in their sound. Some bands, they sound, AC/DC is one of the bands that it was AC/DC, that's it. But Zeppelin, you know, Zeppelin would go and make, you know, like a Whole Lot of Love, and then on Presence they got Candy Store Rock, you know what I mean? And you look at Kiss and they got Rock and Roll Night Party Every Day or Strutter, but what was the big hit tune? Beth, you know? And you just go, so for us to get pigeonholed into recording 10 Plouds or 10 Mollies, I go, what's the point of that, man? That's not very creative. It's not necessarily fun. So, and what happened was, you know, the second record didn't do as well because I think maybe people expected us to make the first record over again. You know what I mean?
Right.
Probably
Takes
did.
away. I've seen that a lot, and almost like they take away the imagination, the creativity, and they try to duplicate the first one, and it sinks.
That happened with Boston. Really, the second Boston album, Don't Look Back, was kind of like, a continuation of the first album, not quite as good, you know. But I think it's maybe a place to go for the sophomore thing. You kind of go, okay, we're going to continue it, and then the third record, you know, because people expect it. But once you built a little more, then you can go, okay, now check this out. Maybe that's
without a doubt, man. I mean, you know, some people would claim like bands like Nickelback, they just got it down. You know what I mean? Like they got some kind of formula. And I don't know if you guys have ever talked to Chad. I wish I could spend enough time with him to pick his brain on that to find out if that's a fact. You know, do you have a formula? You know, and I particularly don't have any kind of formula. Maybe that's my problem. I need a formula. But I've heard things like that. So I wish maybe somebody could chime in and confirm that idea.
It's interesting.
You know, I never understood the whole downplay with Nickelback. I love Nickelback. So does Veronica, apparently.
Veronica does love Nickelback. I mean,
and so does Kim.
They have paved an enormously strong career for themselves. I love to see people do well. You know, God bless them. So I don't know. I don't know if they have a formula. You know, we did a show with Nickelback one time, and they got mad at us for standing on the risers. That's it. But I harbored no ill will because of that.
You were standing on the risers, and that upset them.
They had these risers for like the guitar players only, right? And I guess they told somebody in our camp that we weren't supposed to be standing on the risers, but we didn't know that. We claimed we didn't know that, whatever. So we stood on their personal risers while we're opening up for Nickelback. And their tour manager got really mad at us, man. He said, now you're not getting paid. And I'm like, not getting paid? That's horseshit, man. I knocked on Chad's trailer door. I was like, do you know what your road manager told us? We're not getting paid. And Chad was a classy guy, and he cleared it all up. So we got paid, and everything was cool, man. But I was like, man, I wish I had enough time to ask Chad the question. You know, have a formula.
Yeah. By the way, after we get paid, I want to know, is there a formula?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
The mad chemist, right? All right. So you've got a single coming out with the Lucid. Is that correct?
Yeah, man. You know, it's like we worked hard on that record, and it was like when you talk about the songs people don't hear, the fellas probably sent me about 30 different demos. And they're like, you know, pick what you want to develop and write to. So they were very kind about that. But I'm happy to say that we're starting to put some songs out. And I'm happy to say we're talking about dropping the record because the record's done. You know, the whole thing is done. And I'm glad it's going to see the light of day.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. What excites you most about this album?
It's just one of those things that you're kind of doing exactly what you want to do. And I love that environment because I've operated that way for many years, for better or worse. and they never said, no, Vin, you can't have a song called Parade of Spit or Breach Boy, and I'm leaking out titles of songs here for the record, or Mastronaut. They're like, Mastronaut, what's that? That's cool. We're develop that. So it's like basically nobody's telling you what you can or can't do, and in that environment, it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, what is Mastronaut?
Sounds to me like
you wear a
mask or not wear a mask.
I don't know, man.
Mask or not.
Yeah, right. It's kind of like a play on the words, mask or not. This is Mastronaut. So it's like, the new hero, man, the Mastronaut. You're out there in the new space with your mask on. And I don't mean it in a derogatory way. I'm just saying it's funny, man. It's like it created a whole new outer space for me. Like the outside world became outer space when you're, hiding away and you're sheltering in place. And then you step out, and all of a sudden you got your equipment on, and you're a Mastronaut.
I fucking love it. I love it.
I like the spit parade. Is that when you're talking to somebody and you're like, "Fuck, man, come on, stop."
Hey, that's like a good COVID reference, man. You know what I mean?
Right?
Yeah. Parade of Spit. I didn't think about it like that, but I may start to twist the explanation to fit that, man. That's kind of cool.
Right. Yeah. I hate spitters, man. I work with one, man. He works with me and he talks it.
And he's right in your face.
Oh yeah. It's gotta be right here, Hey,
you gotta get glasses on to have the little windshield wipers. Just turn them on every once in a while. Yeah, thanks.
Right.
What do you
For everybody else but you, I need the mask.
Do you bring it up to the guy though? Are you honest and go, hey man, listen, I love you, but you're spitting?
I have actually. I have, yeah.
I
kind of brings up a funny story. I used to work with this dude, and he was like, "Hey man, we're friends, right?" And I barely knew the guy, but I was like, "Yeah, we work together. We're friends. We could call each other that." He's like, "Cool. Friends tell each other things, right?"
Right.
I'm like, "Well, yeah." He's like, "Cool, dude. You got a booger in your nose." But on the second thought, thanks for telling me so I don't look like a jackass the rest of the day with some snot moco sitting in my nose, you know what I mean? So,
and you know what, though? You could always play it cool and go, I know it's there, and I want it there. I've always wanted to make a video, when we made videos back in the day, they were like, you guys can be completely involved in the video. And I'm like, okay, so what do we get to do? And they're like, you get to pick the model that's going to be in your video. I'm like, that's how I'm involved? I get to pick the chick that's in the video? What are you talking about? But I always wanted to do a video where, you have very attractive people, and maybe they're mouthing the lyrics to your song, but they all have a booger in their nose. And it's very unsettling to look at somebody with that kind of thing going on. Am I right? It's just very uncomfortable for the most part.
You start doing this to yourself.
Oh, but you think, you know what, though?
Yeah.
You can make the whole video like that. People in their cars. You ever watch people in traffic doing that? They're just digging in. I saw a guy walking down the street the other day, and he was just digging in. And he'd dig in, he'd pull it out and look at it, then dig in again. He's very comfortable with that. And I'm not so comfortable with that. It's still a little uncomfortable for me, but it is so just, it throws you off balance, but it's something so simple, but something pretty gross. And I think we should make a video like that. I got to call the lucid guy.
And the way to end it is how you should have done it, Drake. You should have gone, yeah, I guess it's done now, and taken it and then ate it.
It's cooked long enough.
Imagine doing that at the end of a video. It would be just like, total cringe.
Oh, yeah. We're so comfortable with it. We could just, in the video, you're picking somebody else's nose, and it's just like,
hey, bro, let me get that for you.
I don't know if it's been done yet, is the thing. Maybe somebody's made a video like that, but now to think about it, maybe it should be the next lucid video. It's just something as simple as that, but it's pretty gross.
It really is. It really is. But it's everywhere. I feel uncomfortable when I see it because I'm constantly then checking myself, and then they never catch the hint. They just stand there talking to you as it's sitting there.
But you get older though. It's like walking around with your zipper down. You get older and you get comfortable with that kind of stuff, and you brush it off pretty quick. Like one day I had I was seeing yellow on my glasses, and I need these glasses to read anything. You know what I mean? So I see this yellow, and I go, what is that? I had my glasses hanging on my shirt. I looked down at my shirt. I had mustard all down my shirt. I've been walking around all day with mustard on my glasses and mustard on my shirt. And I just go, why didn't anybody tell me? They wouldn't have hurt my feelings, but I just go, the hell with it. I had mustard on my face all day. Who cares?
Right. So I'm still uncomfortable with it. You know, if I've got mustard all over my shirt, I'm like, damn, I walked around like this all day, you know?
Really?
And I start thinking about the people I saw that day, like, damn.
No kidding.
I look like an idiot.
I don't know. It's just like lately, I just, I don't know. I don't care too much for it. You know what I mean? It's like I've done shows, my zipper's down or something. You know what I mean? Back in the day, no underwear, that's a problem. But I mean, it's like, you know, I go, my zipper's down. Then I go, who cares? At least I didn't have mustard on my glasses and my shirt.
Yeah. That happened to me 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we were playing a show, and some girl comes up to the front of the stage, and I'm going, what is she trying to do? I thought she wanted a guitar pick or something. And she goes, your zipper's down. I went, and I just, what was I going to do? Was I going to turn around? I was going, I just stopped and pulled it up, and right in front of everybody, it was like, what am I going to do? Turn around? Oh, yeah, everybody's seen already.
Everybody should applaud.
Yeah. I was just like, zip it up. Yeah, keep playing, whatever. You know, what are you going to do?
No,
you didn't have your leather pants on, did you?
No. just jeans.
You know, I kind of went through that embarrassment yesterday. Tell me something. Why is it when they cut on your wrist, they need to have your genitals hanging out on an operation table? Doesn't make any freaking sense.
They did that to you?
Yeah, dude. I had to lay there butt naked for the operation.
Were you getting a vasectomy and a catheter?
I don't get it, brother. Honestly. Like,
so
we're gonna go in through your wrist, but we're gonna need you all the way naked.
That's
so there's
weird.
There's a sheet laying next to me, so I like try to pull it up on me, and the guy's like, "Oh no, we need that area exposed in case we have to go in through your groin." Well, if you go in through my groin, put the sheet up or pull the sheet off.
Did they shave you down there?
They trim, clean, all that stuff. So, funny story, I'll share it with you.
That's a bonus.
Right? She's sitting next to me. So I'm going to share this funny ass story for you. I go through the operation. Somewhere during the operation, somehow I'm talking to a nurse, and I think that I got her phone number during the operation. So I'm laying in recovery, and my wife's sitting there. And I'm like, I think a nurse gave me her number during the operation. And my wife's like, oh, good God, you're in some good shit. You know, you're in dream world. I'm like, no, I thought that happened. She's like, where's the number? So she starts being a smart ass with the recovery nurse and goes, he thought he got a number during the operation. The recovery nurse goes, no, actually, it's right here on this alcohol swab. Swag.
That's great. Yeah.
I still don't understand why you have to have your dick out for an operation on your wrist. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'm a little confused by that, but whatever they need, man. You know, it's like that's why going to get a colonoscopy. You know, I had a vocal node removed back in the spring, and yeah, of course they knock you out for that. But I'm one of those guys I always think like, all right, am I going to be on some social media outlet, you know, bent over naked or something? You know, they're showing my ass. I have no idea. Or somebody's ass in my face. I have no idea. It just, it's unsettling for me to be knocked out like that.
You know, I told a dentist that once. I said, if I wake up with my pants around my ankles, I am not paying for this. And he said, go ahead and make fun of the guy that's going to have you knocked out with your mouth open for an hour. I came to, and I was like, man, that was really stupid.
Well, you know.
Were you manscaped after that?
No, but apparently Kim Brady Van Nee said she had surgery. They went through her groin and they shaved her. So you got a bonus. You got a Brazilian and a little surgery done.
Yeah, man. There's definitely advantages to that, man. We were on the road in like Europe. We were doing a tour, a promo tour for our second record, and it was like Fiona Apple and the Fugees, and we're all in the same bus together. And it's late at night, man, and everybody's like, you know what? If you fall asleep, Wyclef is going to come over with his rubber schlong and put it next to your face and then take a picture of it. So nobody would sleep. Well, I didn't sleep on the bus, man, because I didn't want that happening to me.
Oh, hell no. Hell no.
I don't want that.
That scars you. You know what I mean?
Come on, Drake. You got to be more secure with your manhood.
If I wake up with a giant rubber cock sitting next to my face, dude, I'm going to be scarred.
Well, yeah. You know, it messes with your early rock and roll hero development. Yes, that would mess with me back then. These days, I just go, shit, I'd rather go to sleep, man. You know what I mean? But back then, I was just like, I probably couldn't sleep anyway, but I mean, I wouldn't want that to happen. So since then, it makes me think about just being incapacitated.
So any good Fiona Apple stories? Anything from the road that would be interesting that you could tell?
Yes, I think so. I think so. And it was, to me, it's wild. Like this young, very talented young woman coming out to, I think Maxwell was on this tour, and we're all together out there traveling around. But those were some of her first shows she had ever done. And so it's like this high profile Sony, you know, showcase thing going on. And she didn't want to go out to perform. And we were like, I think we were on before her. And we were like, please just come out and, you know, maybe you want to play on one of our tunes, you know, just to get acclimated to being out there in front of the audience. But she was very reluctant to come out and perform. Eventually she did, but we were asking her, maybe you want to come up and play with us first. So that's a pretty big deal for a young person to go out and do the first gigs in a high profile situation like that. But she eventually made it, but I was a little surprised.
Wow.
Wow.
Stage fright or something. And it's a big deal.
Have you ever dealt with that? Have you ever dealt with stage fright?
You know what, man, you know, you sit there and you go, you want to get out of here. Like I look at it like it's, your irrational brain, like my German Shepherd dog, you know, when she gets into her irrational brain, you kind of got to snap her out of it, you know, like what's worked with us is this little shock collar, something like that. She loves people, but she goes absolute ape shit when another dog is around. So to get her out of that brain, it's just a little zap, you know, and it works pretty good. With me back then, it was like, you know, we're going out to play David Letterman or something in his big steel door. So a couple good swings, pop, knuckles, hurts, you know, it just gets me out of that brain for a second, you know. Then eventually you go, man, I'm pretty sexy with a couple shots of vodka, you know what I mean? And that's kind of because you go, man, if I'm sexy with 2, what's 4 gonna do? You know what I mean? So you go through that phase where you're just like, man, you're totally cool, you're hanging out, you're drinking, you play your gig, but I don't play my best gigs like that anymore, man. I can't do it. Nothing before or after the gigs during show days. So it's really helped me out a lot, man, because I'm not getting any better looking. So I figured I got to up my game as much as I can. So I just tend not to deal with the nervousness as much anymore.
Right.
Well, you still look healthy and look young, so that's a bonus.
Yeah, everybody in the comments
definitely got a very young look about you. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I certainly try, but probably older than both of you guys. So
it's close. A little bit. You're a few months older than me, but you are. But not that many. Don't look it up, anybody. You're not allowed to.
Right. We have people asking what the Johnny Cash poster is behind you.
Johnny Cash.
The man.
Yep. Classic old Cash poster.
Hell yeah, brother.
I just love it. It's like, what's that company in Nashville? Show Prints. It's it'll come to me in a minute, man. That's what it looks like to me, you know? What is that company?
I don't know. I've got 3 of them over here behind my studio desk.
Hatch.
Elvis, Black Sabbath, and Springsteen.
Yeah.
Over there.
I think they call it Hatch Show Print or something like that, man. When you're in Nashville, right on Main Street, I think they still do posters. So those old style posters are cool. Rock and roll posters. I just love the rock and roll posters and the rock and roll artists. Mark Arminsky, Frank Kozak, you know, just the gargantua giants of, you know, rock and roll posters.
Hell yeah, brother.
Talk about Letterman, being on Letterman a little more. I want to hear about the Letterman thing. That's pretty cool.
Oh, it's fabulous, man. But I mean, how much do I remember? I remember punching the door, remember being cold and singing a song and going to a bar afterwards.
It's just that fast, like bing, bam, boom, huh?
Shaking Dave's hand and going, "Where's the bar?"
Right. So
Wow.
how was he? Do you remember any interaction with him? Because I've heard mixed results. I've heard some people say that he's a narcissistic prick, and other people say he was cool as hell.
I think, you know, I think Dave really, when he sees a band that he really digs, you know, I love his reaction to watching Amy Winehouse and the Gutter Twins, you know, like Mark Lanigan and Greg Dooley. You know, it's like he seems to really get when the bands are real, you know, and I get a kick out of watching Dave get a kick out of the band. So yeah, you know, I never had that kind of interaction with Dave, you know.
Yeah, I've watched some of his stuff post the night show and some of the things that he's done, and he's actually pretty ingenious. The man's got an incredible intellect, and I've sat and watched some of his college speeches and stuff. He really gets it. And as far as artistry, man, that drives him. He loves artistry. It doesn't matter whether it's music or anything that is pushing or trending. He's really behind it. So
yeah, man, yeah. I think Dave, I didn't realize it until 9/11 occurred, and Dave talking to the country, and you know, you're going, we're going to watch David Letterman now. I mean, how can we laugh? You know, how
right.
what's going to be funny anymore? You know, after that happened, and Dave came on and said just the right words, and I go, there's somebody who not only is, you know, he deserves the spot that he has on TV, but he's also a great American too. You know what I mean? So I see somebody like that, I just go, yeah, you know. So I don't know what kind of interaction other folks have had with him, but just seeing that, I just go, you know what? You know, Dave's always got a good spot in my heart, you know?
Yeah. Cool, man.
Any other late night shows you guys were on? What other late night shows were you on?
Oh, man. I think we did Jon Stewart, Conan O'Brien. Yeah, those, and of course Letterman, those 3 shows for sure. Never
That's
Saturday
cool.
Night Live. So, yeah, I think those 3.
Cool.
Nice. So before the show, you mentioned the area of 8 Mile. Now, that's had a whole lot of publicity over the years. How do you feel about that publicity and some of the other musicians that have come out of that area?
8 Mile has always been like I said, the divider line between Detroit and the suburbs. And there had been, you know, protest marches just last summer, fall, down 8 Mile, you know. And of course, it certainly had to do with some of the BLM marchers and people that were protesting against police brutality. But the significance of that, you know, it's a economic dividing line, or has been in the past, you know. And it's not just a road, and it's not just a wall, but it's like an economic, like I said, economic dividing line. Some cities next to Detroit, bordering Detroit, have literally, and they've taken them down since, erected barricades to block the streets of flow of traffic from Detroit into those suburbs. So, you know, 8 Mile has always been a place, for some reason, that has had that type of history. And on top of that, it's always had all the strip clubs, man. Like, all the strip clubs run along 8 Mile. There used to be so many of them, still are. And if you wanted to go to the most interesting places, you'd get off 8 Mile, you'd go to 7 Mile or 6 Mile, you know, Sassy Sandy's police station, the Can. You'd get off of that main strip, you know. So in my history, you know, going to 8 Mile is like a classy place as compared to the rest of them. Plus, now all the weed shops are on 8 Mile. But you know what? I think I wrote most of the Lucid record driving up and down 8 Mile. You know, the boys sent me like CDs. I popped the CDs in, and I'd get ideas cruising up and down 8 Mile. You know, and it cleaned up the prostitution and stuff like that is going on. They haven't cleaned it up completely, but it's that kind of environment. For some reason, driving up and down 8 Mile is inspirational in that regard.
That's cool.
I don't think a lot of people understand the the dividing line, which was 8 Mile, and the demographics as far as culture, where you are financially. When they watched, you know, obviously they saw the movie 8 Mile, they've seen all this, but they didn't understand what went behind that.
Well, yeah, I think this is a good point in that, you know, to elaborate a bit, Detroit is predominantly a Black community, and was so when we lived there, and we went to school there, and they did something called busing, you know, like they bus you. And busing is like taking a kid that lives in one neighborhood and sticking them on a city bus and shipping them off to another neighborhood. You know what I mean? So all that crap was just insane for us. Lots of my friends dropped out of school. Lots of my friends, you know, got into trouble, got killed. It just goes on and on and on. So Detroit, predominantly Black, people in the suburbs do not want to see their neighborhoods with Black folks in those neighborhoods. And that's kind of it. And it certainly has changed over the years, you know, but that was always the controversy. And that's what built the suburbs, in my humble opinion. It was white flight out of Detroit, man. You know, it's like people that were just like, nope, I'm not going to stay here. And some of the fear was real, and a lot of the fear was irrational. You know what I mean? So it's just like, and maybe some of the fear was losing your property value. So that's important too. So maybe, yeah, giving people a little insight on what dividing line, or why there's a dividing line, that's something that is important to talk about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of history there.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of history. So when does this new single drop, brother? What's the first song that's hit us?
The Lucid single?
Yes, sir.
The Lucid single dropped, I think, just like a couple of weeks ago. And I think the fellas are talking about dropping yet another tune here soon. So, like I said, the record's done, but they just want to start leaking some tracks out and eventually release the entire record. So I think we're ready to release. And it's funny when I say release, what am I talking about? You know, it's pretty much organic what's going on right now. So it'll just show up on the internet somewhere, and then people can listen to it.
Nice. Where can they find the single at now?
You know, something as simple as YouTube. You know what I mean? You know, you go Lucid or Maggot Wind, and just search it, and it'll pop up.
Nice, man. Nice. So, one thing we want to end with is biggest regret so far, and your thing that you're looking forward to the most from here, musically.
You know, anytime there's a regret on my part, it's maybe not doing exactly what I feel I should be doing, you know. And when I look back, you know, years ago, I go, you know, maybe, when I think about even that, I go, when was I not doing what I wanted to do? You know, maybe on our third record, you know, this third Sponge record, just kind of going, you know what, we're going to let other people get in here and produce our records and get involved in the band. You know, I think the band had an inherent sense of direction back then, and walking away from that for guys like us, I think it was a little weird, you know, and I wish that certainly did not occur, you know. Had we been left to our own devices, I think that would have been just a dynamite situation. And in the future, you know, I guess I learned from that. I continue to, the Sponge got a brand new record out. It dropped August 6th on Cleopatra Records. And, you know, wow. that record is called Lavatorium. And nobody said to me, Ben, you can't call a record Lavatorium. You can't basically call it the bathroom, you know? So it's like, I go, why not? So, yeah, Lavatorium is out, and you know, I'm really proud of that record, you know. Win, lose, or draw, you know, because I'm doing what I want to do.
That's cool. You're on Cleopatra. I was just up with Brian 2 days ago at Cleopatra. He's pretty close to me here.
He's
Brian
a good
Perel.
guy.
Yeah. So that's cool. I didn't know you guys were on there too, man. He's got a lot of bands there. A lot of bands.
Yeah, man. They got an incredible catalog, and they wanted to put out a Sponge record. and we got it out there. And we're playing new music at the gigs, and it's a lot of fun, man.
That's killer. I do have another question. Is your dad still alive, and is he still playing guitar, teaching, playing? I'm curious about.
No, my dad passed away in 2014. Yep, he passed away in 2014. So,
condolences, brother.
Did he play up until the end? Was he still going for it?
Oh no, that's the frustration. He was just not interested in playing for the longest time. For whatever reason. Maybe it brought back memories he just didn't want to deal with anymore. I just go, why wouldn't you want to play? But he didn't even for his own entertainment. Want to play, which is a real bummer.
So he must have been pretty excited to see you, playing on Letterman and stuff, all the things you're doing. He must have been just thrilled.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. We invited him out to. We did our first big show, like a arena show at. It was the Palace in Auburn Hills. I'm like, Dad, I'm gonna send a limo to the house. Gonna pick you up. It's gonna be easy. He's gonna bring you right to the backstage. You're gonna walk in, watch this show. Limo takes you home. And I think my dad kind of had a little bit of a phobia of going out. You know what I mean? He's like, nah, I can't do that. I can't do that. So he didn't. He never saw the band. I don't think he ever saw the band perform.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a bummer, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah. Wow.
Amy says it sounds very
not the answer I was expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's rough. That's rough. Yeah.
Yeah.
My brother, I can't thank you enough for joining us tonight, man.
Well, I enjoyed the conversation. Sometimes you think about things like this. You go, "It's an interview," but it's not. It felt like a conversation. I appreciate that, fellas.
Yeah, it's just hanging out and shooting the shit.
I did see that Lucid came in here. They dropped this, so this is a link for everybody. I'll share this on our homepage, as well as the websites and all that. Hyperlink YouTube, and then the address right here. Go check it out, man. Support these guys. Obvious support, Vincent. This is a true musician, a true human being, and I appreciate you for coming in and sharing this night for us.
Thank you, Drake. Continued good health, and thank you, Robby.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You've got concerns, man. Get that catheter, brother, for real.
Oh my God, I think that's really a great way to start the discussion and end the discussion. Really, anybody's got any concerns, get out there. Don't delay. Get out there and get checked out, even if it means getting checked out multiple times.
Yeah. It's just get out there. You know your body better than anybody. Don't let them tell you differently.
That's right. We need you all here. We need you here.
That's it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Vincent, thank you, my brother. We appreciate you. Look for him everywhere. We'll be in touch again, my buddy.
Right on, Drake. Thank you. See you, Robby.
All right, I'll see you. Cool. Right on. That was cool.
Dude, that was killer, brother.
Yeah, it's different. I love it. It just goes in different directions, and good advice. Starting off the show like you did, I thought that was really good because it's really important. Life lessons. That's what I like in the show is when people bring life lessons that we all can learn from.
Yeah,
and that's an important life lesson.
Just being real about him and who he was and how he came up and how he feels about things and the history with Detroit and 8 Mile and the struggles that they went through and continue to go through out there.
We should have asked him about Latroit. Remember we had him on the show, Latroit?
We did have Latroit on the show.
Yeah, everybody knows him. He probably knows him. They're same area.
The same area. So once again, I thank all of you from the heart, all pun intended, for all your well wishes and care and love and support. It meant more to me than you know. So I can't wait to do this again until next week, right?
Yes. Next week, Rob DeLuca from Sebastian's band and UFO.
Yes, will be joining us. That's a big night, brother. Yep. It's going to be a good night.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take my front beat butt home and get back to resting and try to feel better. So I'm here next week for you guys.
Cool.
And good night, all of you. And we'll see you next week. Until then, I love you and take care.